Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you our NFC Divisional playoff preview between the Green Bay Packers and the San Francisco 49ers. Now let's take a look at some keys to victory for both teams, starting with the Packers.
When you look at the Packers defensively, you see a unit that has gotten healthier over the last couple of weeks, which means they play some better football. They got their key piece back in Charles Woodson, and he paid big dividends last week. So all of that combined, I think, bodes well for these guys going into the game versus San Francisco. The real focus point in this matchup will be to stop the run, put the 49ers in backed up situations. That's an obvious game planning point. So look for a lot of stunts, a lot of twists up front to try to confuse the protection and also confuse the young quarterback Kaepernick into some bad decisions, because we know on the back end the Green Bay Packers have some ball hawks, pun intended, that can make plays on the football. But let's go inside the lab and look at this Packers offense, see what they can do this time around versus San Francisco.
The 49ers were using a lot of cover 3 robber. You notice the theme here, beating cover 3, but the 49ers were using robber. Why? Because they wanted to protect themselves from the middle of the field. They want to make sure they take away the middle of the field, force Green Bay to go to the outside where they have outstanding corners. So if you take away the middle of the field, then it limits what Green Bay wants to do offensively. The key is Green Bay can utilize these pivot routes to do some damage to that 49ers defense. Why? Because once you get the football in those hands quickly of the receivers like a Greg Jennings, like a Randall Cobb, they can make plays after the catch. So let's say they use Jordy Nelson here as a big receiver, almost like a tight end. You have your tight end here. Let's say this is Randall Cobb. These pivot routes do a lot of damage to a defense because it goes against flow. And when you're aggressive as a defender, you want to fly to the football and make a play on the football very quickly. But if these guys stop and go back the other way, that's lights out. That's how dudes get stuck in the mud. That's how big plays happen. You see right here what they can do. They can work the tight end down the seam to occupy that robber. And we have drawn up robber coverage. It shows cover 2, but they're going to drop down to a cover 3. This guy's job is to take away the middle of the field. Okay, we're going to entertain you. We're going to drop this tight end down the middle to keep you occupied. This corner has deep third, that corner has deep third. And what we're going to do, we're going to fly these guys up the field. One, he's going up the field, occupy him, and hopefully there's free safety. And we're going to bring these inside guys, inside here, outside there, because I can trust these two guys making plays after the catch, Jordy Nelson and Randall Cobb. We're going to bring this guy in, giving him the illusion that he's going in as well, giving this guy here that illusion, flip right back out. Flip right back out. And we know Aaron Rodgers can make these throws very quickly and accurately to put pressure on these linebackers to make plays. If that happens, look, the Packers can have success moving the football down the field. You don't want to get the football in this guy's hands quickly, especially if he's coming down the hash marks and has a whole area to run after the catch. That could be dangerous. So I think utilizing pivot routes versus this 49ers defense, one, will help get them out of robber coverage. Two, get the football in your playmakers' hands quickly. And three, help you generate big plays later on to the tight end down the middle of the field.
Now let's move over to the 49ers in this matchup, and I think the inside linebackers will have to be more of a factor this game, more so than the outside rushers. Why? Because of Aaron Rodgers' ability to break, contain, and get outside of the pocket, plus the newfound running game of the Green Bay Packers. And if they're going to stop these guys and move on to the next round, they're going to have to make sure they stop the run and keep Aaron Rodgers contained. So their pressure will have to come from within and not from the outside. In the secondary, they're going to put a lot of pressure on the guys like Parrish Cox and Chris Culliver to cover these wide receivers of Green Bay, because we know the Packers can go 4 and sometimes empty with their wide receiver packages and force some of your corners to match up with their bigger receivers and their tight ends. So those guys like Parrish Cox and Chris Culliver will have to step up and have big days. But let's go inside the lab and look at the 49ers offense with Colin Kaepernick and what they can do this time around versus Green Bay, because remember the first meeting they had Alex Smith. So let's go inside the lab and look at this 49ers offense versus this Packers defense.
The 49ers are going to have to play small ball versus the Green Bay Packers. The Packers ran a lot of cover 3 in the first meeting, and now that they have Charles Woodson back healthy, they're going to be a little bit more aggressive in their pass coverage. And here's some ways they can have some success. I like the way they can beat cover 3 by using what I call a roll away and go. And what that does is puts a lot of pressure on the flat defenders and also influences the corner to make a bad decision. You see right here, we're going to have Vernon Davis at the tight end position. 2 running backs that's key in this matchup because it's going to hold the linebackers where they need to be. So you're going to have the running backs hooked down over the top, keeping those linebackers at bay, putting pressure on this underneath coverage. And we're going to take the tight end, we're going to roll him out like this. As we're going to roll out the wide receiver, giving the influence of a quick throw. Why? Because obviously the Green Bay Packers can't bring pressure. We know Colin Kaepernick wants to get rid of the football quickly. We know he can hit the tight end easily. He can hit this guy on the speed out quickly because he has a strong enough arm to make that throw. And what that's going to do is going to get this strong safety to the guess. He's going here. I'm going to jump this route. Or the corner. He's going here. I'm going to jump this route. But the roll away and go, you have two roll away routes, but you have the receiver going upfield. Now what's going to happen, either this guy will be open because of the strong safety flying over here, or this guy will be open because of the corner guessing on the route, being aggressive, and we know Kaepernick can make that throw right here. So looking at beating cover 3, the roll away and go out that gun set can help the 49ers be successful this time around versus Green Bay.
The X factor in this game will be DeJuan Harris, the running back for Green Bay. If this guy can get it going early, it gives them that balance. It holds those linebackers at bay, and it makes them less aggressive, thus giving Aaron Rodgers the time in the pocket to hit those big plays deep down the field. And for the 49ers, the X factor will be Aldon Smith, the outside linebacker. Look for him to be more of a contained defender instead of just flying upfield. Why? Because last meeting, the first meeting in the beginning of the season, he got outflanked a lot. Aaron Rodgers was able to extend the play and hit big plays in the passing game. He can't do that this week, otherwise it's going to be a long day. Now, here are some of my coaching points for both teams in this matchup. For San Francisco, you look at Colin Kaepernick's rhythm. Get him in the early rhythm passing the football, and that's just going to bode well for the rest of the game. And you can't lose contained defensively. If you get out of pocket defensively, guess what's going to happen? Aaron Rodgers will take off and run and also extend the play and hit big plays downfield. And 4-minute offense, if you're so lucky to have a lead in this ball game, you got to be able to put the game away. You allow Green Bay to come back in the first meeting. That can happen this week. For Green Bay, give them a piece of their own medicine. You look at what they can do. They have a mobile quarterback. They have a running game now. So it wouldn't surprise me to see the Packers do a little read option just to give the 49ers a piece of their own medicine. And when you look at their defense, you look at their Swiss Army knife player, defensive end, outside linebacker, cornerback, safety, Charles Woodson. Move him around the formation to create big plays and beat the guards to the spot. The 49ers love to pull their guards, beat them to the spot that's going to create a pile by the line of scrimmage, thus making you able to stop the run. Game. I do think the wild card will be Colin Kaepernick in this matchup, extending plays and getting those cheap first downs with his legs. And now defensively, I do believe the 49ers match up very well versus Green Bay. I like their nickel and dime corners. I like their safeties' ability to match up with their tight ends and wide receivers. So I think they can get more aggressive with their front seven. With Justin Smith or not, I think the 49ers have enough to knock off Green Bay and move on to the NFC Championship. And I also want to give a huge shout out to 49er fan forums and Packer fan forums for always showing football game plan support.